You went in for one thing, toothpaste, maybe milk. You had a plan, a short list, a clear head. 20 minutes later, you are standing in the checkout line holding a full basket, a nicer version of the thing you came for, and two products you didn't know existed when you walked in. And here is what your brain tells you on the drive home. I chose all of this. This was my decision. I'm an adult, I know what I like. But what if almost none of it was your decision? What if most of those choices were quietly made for you, before you ever touched a basket, by people you have never met, who studied exactly how a brain like yours moves through a room? The lighting, the layout, the order of the prices, the little option that exists only to push you toward a bigger one. None of it is an accident. The store was not just selling to you, it was reading you, and it read you perfectly. This is Money Mind, where we look at the psychology behind every dollar. We're not here to talk about stocks or crypto or coupons. We're here to understand why you do what you do with money and what it quietly reveals about you. And today's truth is this: you make far fewer free choices than you think. Most of your decisions are really just you picking from a menu that someone else designed to tilt you toward a particular answer. Once you can see that menu for what it is, you can never be sold the same way again. If that idea makes you a little uneasy, good. Subscribe, because this channel is about seeing the strings that have been quietly pulling you your whole life. The usual advice for overspending is always about you. You have no willpower. Make a list. Don't shop hungry. Leave your cards at home. As if the only problem is that you are weak and undisciplined. But that advice keeps failing, and here is why. The problem was never really your discipline. The problem is that you are walking into a space that was engineered, shelf by shelf, price by price, by teams of very smart people whose entire job is to beat your discipline. Blaming your willpower for losing that fight is like blaming a swimmer for being swept downstream. You are not weak. You are just standing in a current that was built to move you. To see how strong that current is, look at a famous experiment by a behavioral economist named Dan Ariely. He found a real ad from The Economist magazine offering 3 ways to subscribe. Online only for $59, print only for $125, and print plus online also for $125. Read that again. The print-only option and the print plus online option cost exactly the same. So the print-only choice is pointless. Nobody in their right mind would take print alone when you can get print and online for the same price. It looks like a mistake. It was not a mistake. Ariely gave these 3 options to a group of people. 16% chose the cheap online plan. Nobody chose print only, of course. And 84% chose the expensive bundle. Then he ran it again with a second group, but this time he deleted the useless print-only option. Same 2 real choices left. And suddenly, most people, 68%, switched to the cheap plan. The expensive bundle collapsed. Nothing about the 2 real options had changed. The only thing that changed was the presence of a third option that nobody even picked. That worthless choice, just by sitting there, quietly steered the whole room towards spending more. Economists have a name for this power. They call it choice architecture, the design of the choice itself. Choice architecture is a simple, unsettling idea. The way options are arranged in front of you changes what you pick, even when the options themselves stay exactly the same. Say it plainly. You think you are choosing between the products. You are not. You are choosing inside a layout that someone built to lean you a certain way. The shelf is not neutral. The menu is not neutral. The order of the prices is not neutral. Every one of them is a hand on your back, gently pushing. Think of the whole store as a maze built around you. You feel like you are wandering freely, turning left and right, following your own curiosity. But the walls of that maze were placed, on purpose, by people who already know how a person like you tends to walk. Every turn feels like your choice. Every turn was anticipated. And the maze has only ever had one real destination: the register. Maybe you're thinking, fine, but I'm smart, I'd notice. That is exactly what makes it work. This does not feel like manipulation. It feels like your own good taste. It feels like you spotting a great deal or making a sensible, grown-up choice. The steering is invisible precisely because it arrives disguised as your own opinion. So let me show you the walls of the maze, one at a time, so you can start to feel them. Start with the decoy, the trick you just saw. The movie theater does it with popcorn. Small for $3, large for $7. You hesitate. Then you notice the medium for $6.50. Suddenly the large looks like a steal, only 50 cents more for way more popcorn. That medium was never meant to be bought. It exists only to make you buy the large. Then there is the anchor. Every time you see was $200, now $99. That first number is not information, it is a hook. It sets a reference point in your mind. And now 99 feels like winning, even if the thing was never worth 200 in the first place. The first number you see decides how every number after it feels. Then the 99 itself. Not 100. 99 or 999. Your brain reads left to right and quietly files it under 9 something, a whole category cheaper than it really is. Then the layout. Why is the milk, the thing almost everyone comes for, always at the very back? So that you have to walk past everything else to reach it. Why are the most profitable brands always at eye level, while the cheap ones hide near the floor? Because eye level is buy level. Why is there always a Goldilocks middle option, not too cheap, not too fancy? Because they know most people reach for the middle, so they build the middle to be the one they most want to sell. And then the checkout, that little rack of chocolate and gum, placed exactly where your willpower is already exhausted from the whole trip. None of it is random. All of it is architecture. Now the uncomfortable part. Once you really see this, you have to accept something strange. In a design space, you almost never make a truly free choice. The menu chose for you before you opened your mouth. You are simply selecting the answer the room was built to make you give. And the most expensive illusion in the whole world is the quiet little thought that follows. This was my idea. Because the moment you believe a choice was fully your own, you stop questioning it. You defend it. You feel clever for making it. That feeling of ownership is not a side effect of the manipulation. It is the goal of it. The best nudge in the world is the one you walk away proud of. So what do? You cannot unbuild the maze, but you can learn to read it, and reading it breaks most of its power. 3 moves. 1. Find the decoy. In any set of options, pause and ask one question. Which of these is here just to make another one look good? The weird middle plan. The almost as expensive option nobody would pick. The most popular tag. Once you spot the option that is not really for you, the option they actually want you to choose loses its shine. 2. Bring your own anchor. Their whole game is to set the first number in your head, so decide it yourself before you ever walk in. Know your budget, and know what the thing is genuinely worth to you in advance. When you arrive with your own anchor already planted, there was 200 bounces right off. You cannot be anchored to a number you already replaced. 3. Name the nudge out loud. This one sounds silly, and it is the most powerful of all. When you feel the pull, quietly label it. That is the decoy. That is the anchor. That is just eye-level placement. The instant you name the trick, it stops being your instinct and becomes their tactic. And a tactic you can see is a tactic you can refuse. And if any of this made you feel a little foolish, like you have been played for years, hear this clearly. You are not gullible. You are not a sucker. You are not bad with money. You are a completely normal human brain, walking through rooms that were designed, down to the millimeter, by teams of people whose full-time job is to move you. You were outnumbered and outfunded before you ever picked up a basket. The dumbest thing you could do is blame yourself for not spotting a trap that took specialists years to build. The villain here was never your weak willpower. The villain is a machine that profits every single time it can make its choice feel like yours. So here is the quiet power in all of this. The store has always been reading your mind. Your route, your hesitations, your soft spots, all of it, mapped and monetized. But it only worked while the reading went one way. The moment you start reading the room back, the whole thing changes. You walk in and you see the anchor sitting there. You see the decoy doing its little job. You feel the pull toward the middle, and you smile, because now you know its name. You do not have to leave the maze. You just have to stop being surprised by the walls. So the next time you feel that easy, confident little voice saying, "This was my choice," pause for 1 second and ask the only question that sets you free. Whose choice is this really? If this changed how you'll walk into a store, Share it with the person you already thought of while watching. And subscribe, because next time we're going to pull the curtain back on another invisible force running your life. I'll see you there.